When I saw the text on my phone, I felt my stomach drop, and for a moment the world tilted sideways. It was from my husband, David, and the words made my chest tighten like a hand was squeezing it. I need your help. I don't know what to do. I didn't read further at first. I just stared at the screen, my coffee cooling on the kitchen counter, the scent of burnt toast drifting through the air. The house was quiet, too quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the soft ticking of the wall clock. For a second I thought maybe I was imagining it, that the heaviness in my chest was only hunger or fatigue or the usual Monday gloom. But no. I knew, deep down I knew exactly what this meant. I remember the way our mornings used to be. David would shuffle in from the bedroom, still in his slippers, brushing imaginary crumbs from his tie, while I poured coffee and packed the kids' lunches. The sound of my daughter Lily humming to herself as she brushed her hair, the smell of pancakes I burned intentionally for fun just to hear David grumble. Those small moments felt safe, normal, ordinary. I had thought we were happy. Not perfect, no, but content. At least I had thought so. David and I met almost 20 years ago in a way that felt too cinematic to be real. I was a young woman, passionate and reckless in my love for life. He was calm, collected, the kind of man who made you feel anchored without even trying. We laughed a lot, argued sometimes, and slowly, the quiet warmth of everyday life became the foundation of our marriage. We bought a modest house, raised our children, and survived the monotony and chaos of life side by side. At least I thought we did. The first time I sensed something was off was subtle. He started coming home later, always with some excuse about extra meetings or overtime. He laughed less, frowned more. The smell of his cologne, once comforting, felt almost foreign. The way he avoided eye contact made me feel like I was living with a stranger in the very home we built together. But I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe it was stress, maybe he was tired, maybe I was being paranoid. That's what I kept saying while I chopped vegetables for dinner, while I helped Lily with her homework, while I tried to enjoy the small peace of our Sunday mornings. I still remember that Sunday morning clearly. The sun was spilling gold across the kitchen floor. David's favorite jazz record was playing softly in the background, and I was making our usual scrambled eggs. He walked in casually, smiling but not really smiling. There was something in his eyes that made me freeze mid-step, something I didn't understand but immediately feared. "Morning," he said, voice flat, almost rehearsed. "Morning," I replied, forcing warmth I didn't feel. We ate breakfast mostly in silence. Lily skipped down the stairs, chattering about the school project she'd been excited to show him. I watched him nod, absent-mindedly, eyes flicking toward the clock. I remember thinking he's distracted, but why? The days that followed were the same. Small absences, slight lies, a distance I couldn't name. And yet, when I looked at him, the man I loved and trusted, I couldn't reconcile the warmth of memory with the coldness of reality. Then came the first direct hint. It was in the laundry room, of all places. I found a scarf, silk, light pink, expensive, carelessly thrown among David's shirts. My heart stopped because I didn't recognize it. I picked it up, feeling the smooth fabric between my fingers, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe a gift for my sister, maybe a colleague's scarf left behind. Maybe anything but the truth. But I knew. And I hated that I knew. For weeks I tried to ignore it. I followed routines, pretended to laugh at Lily's jokes, smiled politely when neighbors stopped by. All while my mind spun in quiet circles, searching for evidence, for answers, for a reason that would make sense. Every night I would lie awake, the sound of the ceiling fan slicing the silence, replaying conversations, looking for the moment when everything had shifted. It was impossible to pinpoint. Maybe it was gradual, the way a cold seeped into your bones without warning. Maybe it was that one evening 2 months ago, when he came home late and smelled different, almost sweet, like flowers in a boutique I'd never visit. I pretended not to notice. I used to think love was simple. You trusted, you gave, and you hoped for the same in return. But I had learned that love was complicated. Could twist into something unrecognizable. It could leave you staring at a text in your kitchen at 7 a.m., wondering how everything you built could unravel in silence. And there I was, holding my phone like it was a fragile bird, reading David's words again. I need your help. I don't know what to do. I didn't respond immediately. I set the phone down, let the coffee grow cold, and walked into the living room where the morning sun pooled across the carpet. I sat down, wrapping my hands around a cushion, trying to steady my racing thoughts. Was this finally it? Was this the confrontation, the moment when the illusion would finally shatter? I didn't know. I only knew that I had to face it. Because whatever came next, whatever truth he had been hiding, I couldn't pretend anymore. The life I thought we had was already a story of someone else, a version of me that didn't exist anymore. I took a deep breath, smelled the lingering toast, the faint scent of his cologne still in the air, and prepared myself for a day that would change everything. The first clue came on a Wednesday afternoon. I had returned home early from work. My office was unusually quiet, and I needed the break, but David wasn't there yet. The house smelled faintly of something floral, a perfume I didn't recognize. Not his usual aftershave. Not mine. Something sweeter, younger, almost cloying. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe it was a neighbor's perfume drifting in through the open window. But my instincts prickled, the way they do when the body knows something the mind refuses to admit. I went into the living room and found his briefcase left open on the coffee table. Inside, among his papers and the usual receipts, was a small envelope. I picked it up carefully, fingers trembling. The envelope had no name, no stamp, just a neatly written note. Can we talk? She doesn't know, and I need your advice. Froze. She doesn't know. My hands dropped the envelope onto the table. My heart hammered, like it had learned to betray me in sync with every new clue. I tried to breathe slowly, telling myself to stay calm. Maybe it's a work thing, maybe she's a client. Anything but. I spent the rest of the day watching him from a distance, through small cracks of observation. When he walked in, smiling at me as if nothing had changed, I forced a smile back. But there was a tremor in my stomach, a quiet scream in my chest that I couldn't share. The next clue came the following weekend. We had friends over for a casual dinner. David's idea, though I suspect he wanted a distraction. I spent the afternoon preparing, chopping vegetables, laying out plates, making the living room smell like warm, homey comfort. The sound of laughter and conversation should have been comforting. But every time David's phone buzzed, he excused himself. And every time he walked away, tapping away at that screen like he was speaking to someone very important. I wanted to confront him right there, in front of everyone. But I didn't. I wanted to wait. I wanted him to slip up. I wanted the truth to reveal itself naturally. And it did. It was Lily who noticed first. She was sitting on the couch, flipping through a magazine, when a photo fell out. A photograph of David with a woman I didn't recognize. She was young, blonde, smiling at the camera like she owned the world. And he had his arm around her, loosely, but intimately. My daughter handed it to me with a puzzled frown. "Mom, who's this?" she asked. I felt my mouth go dry. My fingers shook as I took the photo. My mind spun. I could feel my heart being tugged in two directions. One screaming at me to scream, the other whispering to stay quiet, to observe. I forced a calm smile. I don't know, honey. Maybe someone from work. Lily shrugged, tossing it aside. But I couldn't. That night, after everyone left, I confronted David. "Who is she?" I asked, my voice low, controlled. He froze, the fork halfway to his mouth. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he laughed, a short, nervous laugh like someone caught off guard. "It's nothing," he said, trying to sound casual. "Just someone I met at work." "Really?" But his eyes betrayed him. They darted to the kitchen clock, to the window, everywhere but mine. And in that silence, in that tiny, unbearable hesitation, I heard the truth. It wasn't just someone at work. The following week, the clues became impossible to ignore. He started leaving his phone unattended, the screen always lighting up with messages from her. She had a name now, one I would learn eventually, and the messages were affectionate, casual, sometimes daring in a way that made my chest tighten.